Hello, Gloucester residents, customers, and hello, Facebook. I'm Robert Panu. Is I'm responsible for everything property related. So that goes from the development and all the development activity we do right through to all the planned investments and roof repairs and roof replacements we do right through to the sort of day-to-day repairs. And obviously damp and mold comes in within that. In terms of damp and mold, I hosted and supported a range of roadshow open days across the city, and we invited residents to come in to talk to us about damp and mold that they're experiencing, or if they had any questions in relation to that. It was really good, some really good conversations there, and it was nice to meet face to face with some residents. Obviously, not everybody was able to attend. Some people didn't want to attend, which is fair enough. But I asked the team to set up a Facebook live stream for us, so we can reach out in manner. We've had some really good questions that through already, which we'll run through in this a session. We also did this, I think, about a year ago, and I didn't host it that year, but I did sit on the panel and answered some questions. And I really enjoyed it. There were some really good questions that came through from residents then. I hope we gave equally good answers, and I know some things did happen from that which I was personally involved in. So we're live for an hour. For those of you who are watching, please send your questions in. What will happen is on this screen or this technology setup I've got here is the questions that kind of pop up on my screen, and as they come through, we'll I'll put those to the panel. I might even answer some myself and share those out. I think what we won't get into is any sort of like personal circumstances and things like that. I just need to be a little bit mindful of data protection rules and things like that. But if there are any sort of like specific examples that relate to specific individuals that have posted questions on Facebook, you know, we're not going to ignore you just because they're personal questions, and myself, my colleagues will pick those up throughout the rest of the day, and either you can private message us to start with, or we'll private message you back, and we'll see what we can do on a one-to-one basis to address any questions or concerns that you've got. So hopefully that's explained to the Facebook world what the plan is for the next. Well, we've got 56 minutes now. What I haven't done yet is introduce my wonderful team who make my life very easy, apparently. And I got a number of people on the GCH Live link with us today from across the business in asset, which do all the sort of like the big work around roof replacements and stuff like that. Somebody from repairs, and they do all the day-to-day stuff. And then also somebody who is in the heart of it all, who manages a sort of customer interaction face-to-face bit within the neighbourhoods team, linked to our repair service. So I'm going to introduce you all in alphabetical order, and I'm going to start with Ashley Chapman, who works in our repairs. If you'd like to say hello, Ashley, and just say a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Hi everyone. So I manage the day-to-day repairs and the voids team here at GCH. I've been here for about 10 months, but I have about 20 years experience in the trade. So yeah, we'd like to hear about your issues, and if we can help, we absolutely will.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Thank you very much for volunteering to sit on the panel and help me out today. I think next in alphabetical order is Garfield. If you'd like to say hi, Garfield, and say a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Facebook world. My name's Garfield Lindsay. I've worked for Gloucester City Homes for the past 13 years now. I've actually been in the housing industry for about 27 years. I currently look after all of the planned program works on throughout the asset team. So welcome and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Garfield. Equally good to have you on the video link today. And last but not least, we have Natalie Kirk, who I couldn't live without. Natalie, are you there? If you'd like to say hi and a little bit about yourself.
Hello all, my name's Natalie. I've been at Gloucester City Homes for about 2 years. Previous to that, I've always worked in the customer service industry. My main role at GCH is looking after the diaries of our day-to-day engineers, making sure repairs are carried out within the required standard turnaround times.
Thank you, Natalie. Good to have you on the video chat with us today. So a bit about me, I suppose. If it's okay, just to take sort of 30 seconds, obviously introduce what I do at GCH. But I just wanted to say sort of my feeling about damp and mould really in the sector. So and Gloucester itself. So I'm Gloucester born and bred. Absolutely love the city and everything it stands for. Love how the city is growing and evolving at the moment with all the sort of changes that are happening. And you know what? And I love working at Gloucester City Homes, and I love supporting and helping out all the residents we do. And you know, damp and mould is in the press at the moment. It has been in the press for a number of years, and I think as a housing sector, we've come in for a lot of slack recently, and that is, you know, completely understandable. There's some housing providers out there who have fallen short of the standards, not just that the sort of sector expects, but that the customers expect to. You know, me being somebody from Gloucester, you know, being able to work at Gloucester City Homes, it's almost like a dream come true. And I think in terms of damp and mould and how I treat damp and mould within the properties, you know, I do take it very seriously. You know, and there's been some comments on Facebook today about how, you know, the seriousness of engineers and so forth. I think, but for me, you know, the expectation from myself and the rest of my team is that, you know, we do take damp and mould very seriously. We do want to listen to residents' concerns. I love residents calling in and raising repairs, because that's what we're here to do. So, you know, please call in, please raise some questions, you know, and I look forward to either answering those questions throughout the next sort of 51 minutes, or answering any concerns you have privately after the call. So hopefully that's set the scene a little bit, and I think what we're going to move on to is looking at some of the questions that we've received that have either come into us directly or have been posted on Facebook. And the way it's going to work for those that are watching is I'm going to be fairly nice and sort of like pick on my team evenly. But the first one is around damp and condensation, and somebody's written in and asked how do they know whether their house has got a high level of condensation, or actually their home is actually suffering from damp. And because we went with alphabetical order earlier, we'll go with alphabetical order again, and I'm going to pick on you, Ashley. So tell our viewers how do they understand, or how would they know whether their home is suffering from damp or condensation?
Perfect. So there's a few signs to look out for which differentiates between condensation and damp. So with dampness, it will often present as a musty odor, or you've got visible mold or mildew. Sometimes your paint and your wallpaper can start peeling, and then you'll obviously have the visible damp patches on either walls or ceilings. That's obviously a really big telltale sign that something's not quite right. And then the same with condensation. It will typically show up as water on your windows, or your plastic around your windows, or your reveals. And then again, that will then allow mold and mildew to grow, which just needs to be wiped away. And often the air can feel cold and damp as well with condensation. And that's just where the moisture is just filling the room.
Would you say that sort of like damp appears as sort of water droplets and sort of like more visible clumps of water, as opposed to sort of like stains and things like that?
Certainly with condensation, it's a lot more visible, and it'll always be on your cold surfaces in your rooms. So your windows are key. So you will wake up in the mornings, obviously, because overnight you'll release about 1 to 2 pints of moisture in the air, and that will condensate on your cold surfaces, which are your windows. So my advice would be when you get up in the morning, crack your windows open for about 15 minutes and just wipe your windows over, and that will stop any mold or mildew growing on your plastics and your silicons.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashley. Just looking, we just had a couple of questions. I think one of these came in from Joanne, and we had another sort of related Facebook comment. Sort of hopefully, if that's okay with the viewers and those that wrote in with the questions, I'm going to try and put those two questions together because they're quite similar and this one's about timings. And why residents have or feel they had to wait quite a long time for their repair issue to sort of like get and repaired. And I was wondering, because you deal with the sort of diary and scheduling, if you could pick that one up, Natalie. So it's around, why do residents have to wait certain periods of time in order for things to be resolved?
Yes, of course. So any case of damp and mould that is reported to Gloucester City Homes, our commitment to you as our customers is that we will be in your property within 5 working days. So that will be a supervisor or one of our surveyors will come along to the property and do a full inspection to review what type of repairs, if any, are needed, whether we need to give you some support in other areas or advice. When that inspection is carried out, then the supervisor or surveyor will send back to the office a list of repairs or works that are needed. Our standard turnaround times are 28 days for standard repairs. There will be times when, if we need to put scaffolding up or the works are a bit more major, this can go past the 28 days, but we would be in contact with you and we would keep that communication going. But most of the time we try and keep to the 28 days.
So just thinking, if I was well, for me personally, I suppose, in my own house, and I'm sure some of our viewers are thinking this, potentially 28 days can be a long time to wait if the issue is serious, or if they had any concerns. I mean, what would happen if things are a little bit more serious and they can't wait 28 days?
So if they are deemed as serious and we need to start works immediately in the property, we will be in that property again within 5 working days. That will be as a minimum, to complete a mold wash treatment throughout the whole property to make sure that the spores are got rid of. If we need to get the electricians in to look at the circulation of the air, so the fans within the bathrooms and the kitchens, we can get that done within 24 hours. So even though we work to our 28 day, if a surveyor or a supervisor says, Nat, I need to get somebody out here ASAP, we've got contractors as well on standby that we can pull in earlier if our diaries are full. So yeah, rest assured, we wouldn't leave somebody waiting 28 days if it was classed as urgent.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. That makes sense. And just if those residents, customers who have posted those questions about timings, still on the call, great. If you're not, don't worry about it, and you're picking this up later, and we will be in contact with you at some point today, if we haven't already, to have a private conversation with you about your particular issues. So next question, I'm not going to pick on you yet, Garfield. I'm going to take this one if that's okay, unless you want to arm wrestle me for it virtually over Facebook, Garfield. No,
you go
no,
for it.
I'm going to crack on. So this one's from Harry. I think we met on a couple of occasions, Harry. If you're still on this, if you're watching this call now or watching it back later, and you it's actually you highlight the complexities behind diagnosing damp and mold issues in the property, and yes, you're completely right. They're complex and they're not all. So reading your post and sort of trying to pull out the question in that, one of the questions you're asking is, who are who are our experts, and how do they determine the root cause of the problem? So a range of experts, but I think we can qualify that those individuals are actually experts in the field, have the sufficient sort of knowledge, experience, and qualifications in order to come up with the right decision. So I think if you look at the 4 people that are on the call, I think when we had a sort of conversation earlier about sort of like briefing for this session, we worked out there was 60 years worth of experience between the individuals in this call working in social housing, but also the building industry. And myself personally, I've probably built over the past 10 years 2,000 homes. I've probably, I don't know how many roofs I've replaced, kitchens I've replaced, windows I can put thousands upon thousands. And in terms of the physical number of properties I've actually been in, and the tenants I've spoken to, and the issues I've diagnosed, that will run into the thousands as well. And that's just me. But on top of that, we do employ a range of specialists. We do ensure our colleagues are suitably trained and suitably accredited. So just to sort of throw some, our gas engineers are all gas safe, for our electrical engineers are all NICIC accredited. We use RICS chartered surveyors. For specific complicated damp and mold problems, we use an external resource who has been accredited through various programs around damp issues. Weirdly, even though we're not that old as an organisation, we're only really sort of founded in 2015 after the stock transfer from the local authority. We do actually own some very old properties in us. Some of them are in the conservation areas within Gloucester. And from time to time, if we have issues there, we'll individuals who have specific experience with old properties, particularly Victorian and red brick properties. And these individuals have been surveying red brick properties for decades. And even when it comes to engineering and structural issues, we use qualified and chartered engineers. So lots of experience in terms of the years and the amount of work that people have done within the organisation. But also there's banks and banks of specialists that we can call on from outside of the business, with all the right accreditation. So hopefully, Harry, that's provided some reassurance to you on the range of experts with the range of qualifications that we can call upon. And by all means, if you've got any further questions after this video presentation, drop me an email, drop a private message on Facebook, and I'm sure I will be able to answer those. Thank you. Makes me feel old now. 60 years experience between the 4 of us. So, and it's not that I've only got 1 year experience and everybody else collectively has got 59. So there is an average between us. So the next question comes from a customer of ours, Tyra. I really hope I've pronounced that properly. Apologies, I didn't mean to cause any offence there. And she's asked some questions specific to a property, and as I said before, we will drop a private message on this. But a bit I picked out from it, which I was hoping I can use your help with, Garfield, because this is your sort of area of work at Gloucester City Homes. And she asks a question about blocks in Tuffley, and she felt that they needed to be, or somebody had said that they needed to be knocked down. And I think what they're referring to in terms of the blocks in Tuffley and so forth. And I was just wondering whether share our details on our plans that we have for that area of Gloucester.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Again, for that area of Gloucester and other areas within Gloucester, we've got a program of works where we are improving the energy efficiency of our blocks. I think it's around about a £2 million contract where we'll be looking at things like installations to the blocks. We'll be looking at moving internal soil stats to externally. Also looking at the roof and upgrading the installation as well. So we have got a very large program around the city to improve energy efficiency on our blocks. So yeah, watch out. And I believe that we've got a number of properties in Tufton's what's actually on that program. So I think it might be one of the blocks in question.
Okay, so I don't know whether that happened for everybody, but I think your signal went a little bit funny there, Garfield. So I think I kind of captured that conversation, and just in case it went funny for all our viewers, am I right in saying, so in terms of the investment, we got big sort of like investment program across the city to improve the thermal efficiency of our properties. That will include the blocks in Tuffley,
That's correct.
as well as improving the thermal efficiency. We're going to do some other stuff as well in terms of soil stacks, roofs, and things like that.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, and apologies if the glitch affected everybody else. A nice little technical question we have now, and just because he's popped up on screen, I'm going to pick on him. Ashley, my windows get wet. What can I do about it?
So this is actually a really common issue, and it happens in pretty much all houses. So it's down to the moisture in the air, and when you sleep, you produce moisture. When you cook, you produce moisture, and it's going to gather on the coldest surfaces in your home, so, i.e., your windows. Absolutely perfect place for moisture to gather, and it is just about cracking open a window, letting some air flow, and just wipe your windows over, and that's going to get rid of that, and it's going to stop the mold and the mildew growing as well. But yeah, it's just a bit of housekeeping. Open some windows, wipe your windows down, and that'll help keep that under control.
So would it have anything to do with the sort of standard or type of window at all, Ashley?
So absolutely. So obviously at Gloucester City Homes, we fit A-rated windows, which obviously that's a really good standard of window. The glass is good, the plastics are good, but it's still going to be your coldest surface, and that's where the moisture is going to gather. But absolutely, we do fit A-rated windows when we do a renew.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Ashley. Just looking through my list of questions. So, I'm gonna pick on you again, Garfield. Why do I get black mold in my bathroom?
Right. First of all, I hope everybody can hear me clearly, and there's no glitch. There's a number of reasons why we could get black mold in our bathrooms. Just to highlight a few points, it could be poor ventilation, it could be leaks from pipes, taps, or shower heads. It could be high moisture surfaces, poor cleaning habits, or lack of natural light. All of these things could combine and create black mold in your property.
Okay, so I have black mold on my ceiling actually in my house, Garfield. I think the reason behind my black mold is because my fan's broken.
Yeah.
I haven't got around to fixing it yet because Mrs. P needs a new bathroom, and also fixing fans at the weekend isn't really my forte. So if I'm experiencing black mold in my bathroom, obviously you're resident of GCHs and you experience black mold in your bathroom, please call 424344, send us an email, send us a Facebook message. We do care about it. I care about it. my team care about it, we will respond. But for those that are watching, what would you advise them to do? Other than obviously call us in if they find black mold in their bathroom.
I would advise, first of all, is to our bathroom is probably one of the highest place where we got moisture levels. We use it on a daily basis. If you've got a household of like three or more, that's three or more people using the bathroom on a regular basis. So things to reduce the actual moisture levels. When you have a shower, open the window, close the door 15 minutes after, and just allow the moisture to actually go out of the building. Again, if your extractor fan's not working like your one, Rob, it's something what you do want to ensure that you get fixed sooner than later, kind of thing, just to help that help reduce the moisture in the bathroom area. Also as well, wiping down surfaces, ensuring that where you do have condensation build up around windows or reveals, you wipe down those areas. If they're not wiped down, then that's turned into mold because it's stale kind of water. So even the littlest things of like keeping your toilet lid down helps reduce the moisture levels. So yeah, there's loads of little things what we can actually do.
Just one thing you mentioned there, Garfield, I just wanted to pick up on, because I mean it was an interesting one, and I've heard some people sort of like have different views about this over the past. Was if you keep the door shut, because I think some people would think that actually if you open your door for your bathroom when you're having a shower, the steam sort of like dissipates through the rest of the house. So actually closing it traps it.
Yeah, again, you would think that was the actual case, and you'll think about the air circulation. So a lot of people think to keep the door open, but ideally when you're ventilating somewhere like a bathroom, you want to ventilate that area. So it's about keeping the door closed and the window open, so you're ventilating that direct area. If you allow the door to be to stay open, what's actually going to happen? You're going to have that moisture traveling through the building and finding the next coldest spot in the building. So this is why we always urge to actually close your door when you're ventilating, have doors closed, especially in high moisture areas like your kitchens and bathrooms.
Okay, thank you, Garfield. That's useful, and hopefully our viewers picked up a few hints and tips there. Going to take a takeaway from that. I think keep the bathroom door shut, because that's actually a really easy free thing to do. Natalie, are you still on the call? You haven't got away with this.
No, I'm here.
You're still here. You can thank me later. How can I clean mold safely?
So there are lots of products on the market. So in any supermarket or DIY store, you'll find lots of cleaning products. They can be quite expensive though. So there are lots of basic products that do exactly the same job. So one of those is mixing part bleach with washing up liquid and giving the area a good clean down. If you are more environmentally friendly and you don't want to be using bleach and things like that, white vinegar and baking soda as well is a good combination to use. Obviously, always wear gloves, read the labels, and keep the area ventilated while it's drying out. But like I say, there are other products on the market as well. So if you did want to spend a bit more money, they work just as well.
Okay, I'm going to do a plug now, and I promise everyone that I'm not being sponsored for this, and it's just something I've personally found. But I tend to buy, and they actually do a mold cleaner as well, which I think is 99p a bottle. But Proper Job on Eastern Avenue, now that sort of like Wilkinson's has shut down, I think Proper Job on Eastern Avenue is a pretty good place to go locally for people who live in Gloucester. It's only around the corner from me, to buy general cleaner stuff. But also I know they also do a mold cleaner. I think it's 99p a pound a bottle or something like that last time I bought it. But obviously to get balance into this this live presentation. Other shops are available, and you're free to choose the range of suppliers that are across the city. So thank you, Natalie. The next question we've had in is around kitchens, and I know, Garfield, you talked about bathrooms, and I suppose, yeah, in terms of damp and mold, it's bathrooms, isn't it? Because that's where we shower and bathe, and it's the wettest room in the house. So I thought this was a really good question that came in. And the questions around, can I improve extraction in my kitchen? But whether we can make that a little bit more general, Ashley, and talk about sort of like ventilation and the issues with condensation in kitchens in general.
Yeah. So again, obviously the kitchen produces a lot of moisture when you're cooking, when you've got your tumble dryers on. So it's just making sure that you've got windows open when you're doing that. Shut your kitchen door to stop the steam going through your house. Open windows, you can open your back door, let the moisture leave your property, and then above all, you must have a good extractor fan. So if your extractor fan is not working correctly, phone in, let us know. We'll come out, we'll look at it, and if it needs to be upgraded, we'll upgrade it. Absolutely. We want to give you the best ventilation in that property to stop you having any sort of mold or damp issues. But yeah, ventilate your property, shut your kitchen door whilst you're cooking, make sure your tumble dryers are ventilated. And if your extraction fan isn't working, call in, email in. We'll come out, we'll put a new one in, we'll make sure that one's working as it should.
So we talked a bit about doors, and just so we're all sort of like singing from the same hymn sheet, in terms of doors from the kitchen perspective, if you are cooking and things like that, kitchen door closed, back door open, or kitchen door closed, ventilation on. Okay, so contain it in the room, don't let it dissipate across the rest of the house. Okay, that's cool. So just thinking, just like us on the call, our customers all lead busy lives, and shopping and work and kids and support and family and things like that. How long would a resident be looking for in terms of getting their fan changed? Is it quite a lengthy job, or is it something that's quite easy?
No, it's generally quite an easy job. We send out an electrician, and it probably takes about an hour just to swap a fan, to take a new fan out, put it on the wall. It's about an hour. So yeah, it's a nice, easy fix. So if it's not working, please call in, let us know, and we can sort it out.
Okay, thank you. Just another question, actually. Just thinking about what you said, and it links back to what Garfield said about sort of fans and ventilation. Obviously, cost of living crisis is extreme. Energy cost of electricity has come down over the past sort of like 12 to 18 months, but it is a lot higher. Would we find that actually having the fans on running continuously is quite an expensive thing?
I wouldn't say it's overly expensive, and they do run on sensors, the ones that we fit now. So
Okay.
it's as soon as you walk into that room, the fan will come on for a period of time, ventilate the room, and then it switches itself off. So you don't have to have it constantly running 24 hours a day. It will just work as and when it needs to.
Okay. So what we talk sort of like pence per hour,
Yes.
are we? Or
Yeah. So pence per hour, which obviously it does build up, but it's certainly cheaper and a lot healthier to ventilate your property.
Yeah, it's a really, really good point. Thank you, Ashley. So like the next question, I suppose, is an extension of the couple of questions we've had previously about sort of kitchens and bathrooms, and we've been asked about how to ventilate the house in general. And because I like your bathroom answer so much, Garfield, I'm going to pick on you again for this one.
Yeah, again, ventilating your house is really, really important. We build up a lot of moisture within our house, and we have to release it. I would always advise that basically it's about having your windows open at the right time, your doors open and closed at the right time, ensuring that you use your extractor fan where present, and if they're not working, reporting that in to ensure that you do have a working fan, ensuring that your trickle vents are actually opened on your windows. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but you've actually got two locking mechanisms on your UPVC windows, and you can actually have your windows in a lock open position. So A, you're still insured, and B, you're getting your ventilation. So if you're on a ground floor flat, you can have it in that position, and get the right amount of ventilation coming into your property and the right amount of humidity going out of your property. Um, One of a good factor as well is to ensure that where you do have like condensation buildup, that it is wiped down. It's really important to actually do that. Ensure what you can see is wiped down, and reduce that humidity level in the room where you're actually at, or where you're to. So yeah, ventilation and ensuring that the humidity levels actually reduce. Just a quick one. I wear glasses, and sometimes when I walk into a property, when you've got the heating on, as soon as I walk in there, my glasses will steam up. That's
Yeah.
condensation building up. That's telling me that the humidity level in that room is very high at that present moment, kind of thing. Still, so just those little key things what you notice on a daily basis. So yeah.
That
And
was it.
please, if there is anything whereby our customers do want to talk about or go over certain points, we're more than happy to book an appointment and come on out and talk to you and give you some information to help you manage some of these issues.
Yeah, I think that was a really good. Never really thought about it. I mean, I'm not a glasses wearer, I suppose, and but never thought about sort of like using that analogy. But that's a really good example, actually, in terms of, if you walk into somewhere that's warm and damp, um, yeah, your glasses, especially from outside, your glasses are likely to be the coldest thing
Yeah,
in that house. So
yeah,
obviously, any moisture in the atmosphere will condense on the glasses. Because actually, condensation or vapor water in the atmosphere is actually a normal thing. If we
yep,
didn't have water in the atmosphere, we wouldn't be able to. Life would not be able to function. And equally, no matter where we go, whether we're, I don't know, on top of Robbinswood Hill or in proper job or in one of the residents or in the GCH office, there's moisture in the air, but actually there's also mold spores.
yep,
And I suppose our job is to make sure that the moisture levels in that property are normal, are reasonable. And I suppose that's why we talked a lot about ventilation today. But well, thanks for that glasses one, Garfield. When I become a glasses wearer, which I'm sure isn't that far off, I'll use that one on my next visit. But no, appreciate that.
you're welcome.
Um, I think this is a relatively easy, straightforward question, Ashley, and I've sort of come across a situation on a number of occasions. Is a wardrobe against the wall now has mold in it? Because obviously we talked about the property, haven't we? And properties get
Yeah.
mold and windows and stuff like that. So why is there mold in the wardrobe or on the wardrobe?
So generally, there's four kind of causes for that. So it'd be poor ventilation in the room, condensation, is there a leak, or is it high humidity? So any of those four issues will cause mold to grow behind furniture. So in order to help tackle that, ensure you've got proper ventilation. Try and keep the indoor humidity levels in check at a reasonable level. Regularly move your furniture. So we always recommend that it should be at least a fist away from the wall. And that will allow the airflow behind it and stop any sort of mold or condensation building up, and that'll stop it from growing. And additionally, if you do find a leak, obviously let us know so we can come and fix it.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Last question. I don't know whether we've had any more in. I just sort of like check on the technology setup I've got here, and we'll see if any more questions have come in, and we'll wait around a little bit. But the last question I've got at the moment is, and I'm not going to pick on anyone anymore because I'm feeling nice, and I wondered whether somebody from the panel would like to volunteer for this question. So this question is, I have got rid of mold, but it's left a mark. Are there any special paints I should buy? And don't
I'll
all
take
jump
this
at
one.
once. Who was that?
Yeah,
It was Garfield. Go on then,
yeah, I'll
Garfield.
take this one.
We're not...
There is special paint you can actually buy. You can buy paint what has an anti-mold solution in there. Those paints are really key for your kitchen and your bathroom areas where there is high moisture levels in there. Also, as well, you could actually around your window reveals is areas where because it's a cold area you're prone to get those areas build up with condensation and then in turn into mold. So what I find is a good trick is to paint around the window reveals in a soft satin kind of type of paint, just to give it that little bit of sheen. And what that actually does is that when condensation actually builds up on that area, you can actually see it and it'll be running down and you can wipe it off. It's about reducing, if you know that you've got a problem in a room, reducing on wallpapers on walls. Very difficult to dry wallpaper out, and in turn, that condensation would then grow into mold. So there's a few little key factors, but the main thing is to ensure that you have an anti-mold paint was used on the wall. And yeah, very important to ventilate and dry out, wipe down. Hopefully
Okay.
that answers the question.
Thank you. I mean, from personal experience, I remember the house I was brought up in, sort of Victoria. I think it was a Victoria. It was a red brick, sort of your traditional red brick, Gloucester Victorian-ish ish properties. And my parents thought it was trendy to have wallpaper in the bathroom, and obviously there was mold issues there. But I suppose the takeaway from that, for any residents got issues with moldy wallpaper in the bathrooms, drops a line, and range inspection, and no doubt we will address any repairs issues within that property. I didn't lie, but when I did mention this was the last question, it was because it was the last question and we hadn't any come through. Somebody has asked about, let's just read this out. In the winter, we often need to dry washing on areas or radiators because it's wet, cold outside. How can we dry things without increasing humidity? Ooh.
I don't mind taking that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no Christmas bonus, by the way, for answering the most questions.
That's fine. I like to give information, so yeah, that's fine. Again, in our modern life, yeah, we all go through the things of drying clothes on radiators in the winter and things like that. But it's about thinking, if I'm increasing the moisture in this area, I need to allow that moisture to actually go. So if you are drying clothes on the radiator in a room, suggestion would be to stick to one room, have the door closed, have the windows crack open. That way, as the clothes is actually drying out and the moisture vapors are at its high humidity, it's actually got somewhere to escape. I think the issue where we have clothes all over the property and no doors are closed, you're allowing the actual moisture to actually travel throughout the building and land on every cold surface in the property. So it's about reducing it just to one area and saying, okay, I'm going to dry my clothes in the back bedroom for argument's sake. That's the area what I'm going to designate to it to drying clothes.
Can I just add one thing to that, which is something I find really helps personally, is if you are going to dry clothes inside, I would always put it on for an extra spin at the end of a cycle, just to force out as much moisture as possible. So therefore, you're not releasing as much moisture into the air in your home.
Brilliant one. That's something what I'm going to take on board as well, Ash.
No problem.
Every day's a learning day.
Absolutely.
So that's the end of our questions at the moment. There is a slight lag between us and Facebook, and the questions coming off Facebook and get posted onto the little video thing that we're using today. So, and I think if we hang on for a little bit longer, just in case people want to join the video chat later. So, oh, I just had a question through, just reading it around as a specific question from a resident around damp and mold in the property and some ongoing issues with pipes. I think because that is related to a specific property with a specific issues for a specific customer, if that resident can either drop us a private message or I'll have a chat with my team, we'll drop a private message back, and we'll sort that out. But I think it's there's sort of like an interesting point in that comment, because I think not a lot of, or I don't, some housing associations or some sort of like approach to damp and mold is always like, they go in and see a property, it's damp and mold property. We're sort of like, we'll wash down the walls, we'll do a damp and mold wash, But, for me, my view is that actually there's a reason that damp and mold's there in the first place. And okay, we can do a damp and mold wash, and we should do a damp and mold wash because that gets rid of the hazard and that gets rid of the risk to start with. But actually, there should always be some sort, there should almost always be some form of sort of like follow-up work to tackle the root cause of the problem, and stop it from coming back. Because actually us coming to do damp and mold wash after damp and mold wash is actually, not great use of our resource, not great use of our time, and actually it's sort of wasting the residents' time. Are you sure they've got better things to do than host some of our repairs engineers to do a damp and mold wash? So one of the things I spend my time doing as well actually is reviewing sort of like damp and mold cases, to ensure in all cases we are looking to tackle the root cause, and then again, that's why it goes back to one of the answers I gave earlier to Harry's questions, why we use sort of experts and individuals from outside of the business to help us diagnose complex issues as well. So we will get back to the resident who's just dropped a comment on that, but from my perspective, I'm quite hot on ensuring that where we are getting issues with damp and mold, we do look at the root cause. We don't just try to stick a plaster on it. So we've come up to 50 minutes. There's no other kind of questions coming through. I'll do a little wrap up. I just wanted to thank 3 groups actually. One, the customers, residents, individuals who have watched and listened to me and colleagues and sent in questions. That's really appreciated. The second thanks goes to my comms team, who nobody has seen today because they've sat in the background and waved a couple of magic wands and made all this technology thing happen. And also I just wanted to thank my my panel, who am I allowed to say that bit nervous when I suggested we do this? I'm really sorry I sort of volunteered you all, but actually it's been really good sort of having you and your support and having you to answer the residents' questions and some of my follow-up questions as well. So that's really appreciated. And although I might ask you again if we repeat this, unfortunately, because you were so good. We'll get back to those customers with private messages where we need to. I just wanted to say, just wanted to a couple of takeaways really. I think a really interesting one was keep your door closed. Where there is, if you're showering, if you're cooking, if you're drying clothes in a room, if you're in that area, try and contain it, keep the doors closed, contain the moisture in that room, and then either ventilate by opening the window, or using the fans. And I think we've talked a lot about, sort of little things that customers can do in terms of wiping down walls, opening windows, cracking open windows, opening trickle vents. But I see the sort of approach to tackling damp and mould is very much a partnership. And it's not just down to our customers having to open a window. Gloucester City Homes, as a responsible landlord, has a role to play in this. I have a role to play in this. My team have a role to play in this. So, for those residents who have watched or are watching this later on, please, if you have any concerns, you're a little bit worried about damp and mould, or you don't feel like you're getting the service that you require, please call me, please call the business, please email in, please contact us on Facebook, because I know I care. I'm confident that my team, and particularly those individuals that are on this video today, do care, and we do care, and we're happy to. I'd rather 1,000 people call in and we have to deal with it than nobody does and suffers in silence. So yeah, I think that's us for the day. It's been a pleasure. We'll maybe run something like this again next year, 6 months time. We'll see how things go. We'll have a chat to the customer scrutiny panel to see what their feeling is and whether they think it's valuable as well, or whether we do something differently. So that's it for now. Thank you very much, everyone, and I will see you all soon. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you.